In a world ruled by fear, in a city walled off from humanity, one woman risked everything to smuggle hope. That hope came in the smallest of packages in the form of children. In occupied Poland, 1942, while the world watched in silence, she became their only chance. This is the story of Irena Sendler. She wasn't a soldier or a general. Born in 1910, she was a Polish social worker, a nurse who saw suffering and refused to look away. When the Nazis forced Warsaw's Jewish population into a sealed-off ghetto, Irena knew she had to act. Her father, a physician who died treating typhus patients others refused to see, had taught her to help people in need, regardless of their faith or nationality. This lesson became her life's mission. Armed with a permit from the Social Welfare Department, she gained access to the ghetto, officially to fight infectious diseases. Unofficially, her resistance was just beginning. Her battlefield was the streets of Warsaw, and her fight would save thousands, one child at a time. Inside the ghetto walls, life was a slow-motion nightmare. Over 400,000 people were crammed into an area of just over 1 square mile. Starvation was a constant companion. Disease spread like wildfire. The daily sight of bodies lying on the streets became horrifically normal. Children, orphaned and alone, begged for a crust of bread. It was a prison designed for despair, a place where hope went to die. Outside these walls, most of the city carried on, either out of fear or indifference, but Irena couldn't stay silent. She saw the faces of the children, heard their cries, and knew that inaction was a choice she could not make. Every trip into the ghetto was a journey into hell, but it strengthened her resolve. She had to get them out, but how? The ghetto was heavily guarded. Every exit was a death trap. So Irena and her network of brave women, part of the Polish underground resistance group called Gestapo, got creative. They used every method imaginable. They smuggled babies out in toolboxes and coffins. They carried infants in potato sacks and hidden compartments of ambulances. Older children were taught Catholic prayers and guided through the city's labyrinthine sewer system, sometimes wading through filth for hours to reach the other side. Some were even spirited away through the old courthouse that had entrances on both sides of the ghetto wall. Each rescue was a masterpiece of courage and deception. Irena's team forged hundreds of new identities, creating fake birth certificates and placing the children with Polish families, in convents, or in orphanages. It was a perilous, nerve-wracking operation where one mistake could mean death for everyone involved. Each life saved was a quiet miracle, a defiant act against an empire of hate. Irena knew that saving their lives wasn't enough. She had to save their identities. These children had names, families, and histories that were being systematically erased. She couldn't let their pasts be lost forever. So, for every child she rescued, she meticulously recorded their original Jewish name and their new Christian name on thin slips of tissue paper. These lists were her most dangerous secret. If found, they would be a death sentence for her, the children, and the families hiding them. She needed a safe place, somewhere no one would ever think to look. So, she placed the precious lists inside to glass jars. Then, under the cover of darkness, she went to a friend's garden and buried them beneath an apple tree. She was burying the truth, hoping that one day, after the war, she could dig it up and reunite these children with any surviving relatives. The jars held more than just names. They held the promise of a future, a link to a past that the Nazis were trying to destroy. The constant risks eventually caught up with her. In October 1943, the Gestapo came knocking. Someone had betrayed her. They arrested Irena and took her to the notorious Pawiak prison, a place of unspeakable cruelty. For weeks, they tortured her, demanding the names of her network and the locations of the hidden children. They broke her legs and feet, but they could not break her spirit. She endured the agony in silence, never revealing a single name or detail of her operation. Her silence saved countless lives. Sentenced to death, her execution was scheduled. But the Polish resistance hadn't forgotten her. On the day she was to be shot, they bribed a guard who helped her escape. On official records, Irena Sendler was listed as executed. In reality, she was free, but forced to live in hiding for the remainder of the war. Her body was broken, but her mission and the secrets she kept remained intact. After the war, Irena returned to the garden and dug up the jars. She handed the list of over 2,500 names to the surviving Jewish community leaders, hoping to reunite families. Sadly, almost all of the children's parents had perished in concentration camps. For decades, her story was largely forgotten, suppressed by Poland's communist government. She lived a quiet life, never speaking of her wartime heroics. She never called herself a hero. She would often say, "I could have done more." This regret will follow me to my death, but those she saved, the children who grew up to have children and grandchildren of their own, they knew the truth. They called her their second mother. In 1965, she was recognized by Yad Vashem as one of the righteous among the nations. Slowly, the world began to learn her name. It wasn't until she was in her 90s that her story finally received global recognition. The legacy of Irena Sendler isn't just in the number of lives she saved, but in the humanity she preserved. Irena Sendler passed away in 2008 at the age of 98. She lived a long life, forever carrying the memory of the faces she rescued and the ones she couldn't. She saved 1,500 lives. She restored 1,500 futures, and she never once asked for thanks. Her story is a powerful reminder that even in the darkest of times, one person's courage can illuminate the world, proving that a single act of compassion is more powerful than an entire army of hate. Thank you for watching. If you were moved by this story, please consider subscribing for more tales of hidden history.